Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brotherhood of Gaming podcast. I'm your host, William Morris.
And I am your co-host, Eugene Morris.
And now we're back on gaming, having taken a break from everything for about a couple of weeks to recoup and rekindle the passion, starting the new year fresh and right. And of course, with starting a new year, you can't help but have some crap going on to get it started. So, people made it aware to me that there was some interesting things going on with Game Informer and some new monstrosities they were shouting out about a certain particular series we might like. And then Gene came over with a copy of the Game Informer and showed me.
Said, man, you gotta see this.
It's like, oh man, you gotta hear what Game Informer said about Tales of Zestiria, man. Like, well, what did he say? You know what? Screw it. I'll just bring him in.
Screw it, I'll just bring the magazine. Here, read it.
Screw it. I'll just buy the magazine. Here, read it.
Well, it comes free to me because of my power-ups rewards to GameStop.
All right.
But, GameStop, I'm Game Informer, mailed out their end of the year edition, start of the new year. So it's like a bunch of their favorite games of 2015, like whatever. But this is their letter section in regards to their review of Tales of Zestiria.
Now, you might remember a couple months back, we did a podcast episode talking about Game Informer's review that they released about Tales of Zestiria and how it was quite a controversial review because it gave the game a relatively low-ish score, not terribly bad, but more of the almost average, if not a little bit.
It is, because you gotta look at from the point of view of these websites where 10 is perfect, 9 is good, 8 is passable, 7 is crap, and anything below that is
not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was technically, I guess
Yeah.
you could say it was technically below average.
Right.
It got a 6.5 out of 10, which...
And the reasonings they gave it were very...
Yeah, and the reasoning behind it was very weird. Like, it was very arbitrary stuff. Like, we don't like that it has save points. We don't like that we have to backtrack. It was very, very, really ludicrous stuff. Like, that had no rhyme or reason to give a game a faulty rating, considering that games today have save points, be it either they autosave for you, or they have you do it, or they're going to have you backtrack, which a lot of games do. Bloodborne. So... with the backlash of Tales of Zestiria getting a relatively low score, whether you like the game or not, that's completely fine. But hopefully it's for better reasons than that. Some fans, I imagine more than one, sent in some thoughts on their review. And one in particular actually got their letter in the magazine.
The name of this piece is called Down with the Sickness, and we'll explain that in just a minute, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so Down with the Sickness is the name of the article, as Gene just said. And it's got a picture of the two main characters. Well, one of the two. Yeah. And let's see. It has the letter from the person who sent it, who is nameless. And it's got the response. So, yeah. Here's the letter that was sent in. I can't believe that after all these years you still have such a prejudice against JRPGs. This last issue has concrete evidence that you gave Tales of Zestiria such a low score, a 6.5. And the reasons that you praised Undertale, your game of the month, Zestiria's save points are archaic and detract from the gameplay? Guess what other game has save points? I will admit that the game has flaws, but to give it such an underwhelming score, the story is solid and the new gameplay elements make it immersive. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm really tired of these games getting low scores for no other reason than you people think that they are somehow less than. And then they ended off the letter by saying, so F you and your effing anus. And that's the part where we were just like, really?
Yeah.
You didn't have to end it like that. You could have remained professional about it. And then they got responded to in a also not very professional manner. So I guess they like to fight fire with fire, which in no industry should you ever do that.
Right.
Alright, the Game Informer's response was, wow, that escalated quickly, huh? But we understand random outbursts are common symptoms of JRPG worship syndrome. So is selective reading. Confusing concrete evidence with no evidence at all, and a fondness for sweeping generalizations, like like construing our dislike of dated save systems that require copious backtracking as universal condemnation of any game that features save points. For more information on JRPG worship syndrome, please consult your doctor. Wow. In the words of Gilbert Gottfried, what an asshole! All right, now, first of all, I love the response and how they're trying to use all of these big words to sound very sophisticated.
Right.
And it's like, I won't lie, I had to look up a couple of these words just to know what the hell they were talking about, because I'm pretty sure they did the same. I'm pretty sure what they did was they wrote out something that was just as juvenile, but then they took some of their words and they used a thesaurus to look for, like, the bigger
word to go with it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had to look up what some of these words meant, like, condemnation, which was, like, a general disapproval.
Yeah.
And, yeah, first thing that I wanted to point out that was wrong with it was confusing concrete evidence with no evidence at all, which was a response to when the letter writer said that the last issue has concrete evidence that you gave Zestiria a low score of 6.5. And their response was literally confusing concrete evidence with no evidence at all. What? No evidence? Dude, it's in the book!
Right.
It exists. It's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't... It's not made up. You guys did.
It's kind of weird that they say that it's an archaic form,
but it's still around.
But it's fine in one game, but not in the other. So
yeah,
I didn't know what they were trying to get at there.
Yeah, what are you trying to say here? Because Undertale does it.
Yeah, I guess like you said earlier. I guess nowadays people are so used to games like auto saving behind them that for some reason it's a problem now to find a save point.
But yeah, but why do games like Bloodborne get
Bloodborne?
Yeah, Bloodborne get a free pass because you have to
I don't know.
You have to go and find your save points and you have to activate them.
Right.
Like, and then you still have to do backtracking. So why do games like Bloodborne and other games and Undertale that use the save points, why do they get free passes? Right. And Tales of Zestiria gets a boot in the ass?
I have no idea. But yeah, it just seemed to me like the guy who wrote this, or at least one of the articles, got this mail. They got all butthurt about it, so they decided to respond in a very snarky, very sarcastic manner.
Yeah.
It's not something that's new. It's something that's going on. It's actually been going on with these magazines since Nintendo Power, because Nintendo Power did some of these things too. I don't know. I just don't like responding to kind of going down to that level. You know, just kind of like try. If you have a comment or a letter from someone who's acting like an a-hole, for you to turn around and act like an a-hole too, you know, it doesn't make you smart or more intelligent. Just
I call that Chris Chan syndrome.
exactly. You know,
because you will never, ever, if you were to go to any business, any local business, and you were to ask them how to deal with customers that are irate or that sort of thing, their response, and you say, would your response to be irate back or be that way? No self-respecting business will ever tell you that is even an option.
The best way to do it. Right.
It's not even an option.
Right, exactly.
Because how they act as a business is a reflection upon their work.
Well, it's kind of the same thing we discussed ad nauseum a few years ago with the whole DMC and how Ninja Theory acted.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I understand. There's a lot of people acting like jerks and but to get down to that level, that's not how you. Because you remember, at the end of the day, you're trying to sell a product here.
You're not doing anybody any favors or winning anybody over by being an asshole back.
Right, and I just kind of find it funny that a lot of people point out the conflict of interest, or it's funny that we have a magazine that this magazine is actually owned by GameStop, so. If you write a bad review in a Game Informer about Tales of Zestiria, and that deters someone from buying Tales of Zestiria, won't that take money away from GameStop?
In theory.
In theory. So I don't know. It's just kind of goes to show you again that there's a lot of aspects of the video game industry that needs to grow up.
Yeah, or needs fixing, or at the very least they need, because obviously it's clear that they don't always get the right person for the right genre to review such games. because it felt like the person who did the review for Zestiria, like, and I know some people say that the person who did the review for Zestiria and the other Game Informer does have history with RPGs and stuff, but it sure didn't sound like it. It really didn't. It sounded very like they were new to the idea. Like, what save points? What are these? Like,
Yeah.
what money? I have to spend money
Right.
in game currency? What backtracking? What is this? Like, I don't just get to move forward. I got to go back. Like,
You know, like the letter that this person wrote was kind of immature-ish, but they did bring up a couple of good points, the things that we actually brought up. That
Yeah.
you're complaining about things like you just said that are very common in games nowadays.
today,
Yeah,
just as they were back then.
if you have legitimate criticisms of Zestiria, that's fine, but when they come off like this, they just sound very weird. That you're criticizing them for save points and backtracking. Like I said, what game doesn't have save points and backtracking?
Ugh, I don't like this game. I have to fight.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, if you don't like Zestiria, fine. There's other reasons to not like it.
I mean, yeah, like I'll be the first.
We
to
enjoyed the
admit.
hell out of it.
Yeah, we enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be the first to admit it's by no means a perfect game, nowhere near, but it's not, by far not the worst either.
No, but it just the review that Game Informer did was just very strange, and this letter response didn't make them look any better.
Yeah, like I don't like the last part where they got very vulgar with it.
Yeah.
Like, you keep it on a professional level. If you want answers, that's fine, but you don't have to go and say
You
things
suffer from RPG worship syndrome. Well, there's a lot of games that people worship, and it's not just
yeah.
relegated to RPG status.
Yeah, there's hero worship, like people worship.
Other video games.
Yeah, Mega Man,
Yeah.
Zelda, Mario,
Call of Duty, all that
yeah,
stuff.
Call of Duty. Like, oh, come on! So don't pretend that JRPG is the only exception here. The
Right.
Sonic fan base.
Right.
So yeah, gamers are passionate about their favorite franchises, and for them to get done a form of injustice, you don't think that they're gonna rally the troops?
Right.
So yeah, like, at the very least, own up and explain yourself in a proper manner.
And this deters me from ever writing or making a comment to Game Informer. If I have a serious comment, or if I have a serious question, they're probably going to respond in a very snarky manner.
Yeah, you're likely not going to get one.
Right. Yeah.
And even if you tried to respond again, odds are you'd never see that published.
Right.
Because I doubt they're going to do a series of back and forth letters in magazines.
Snarkiness is the enemy to logic and common sense.
Yeah, just like how Saray and Mikleo in the picture are just like, eh.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I do feel bad for this game. Like, it's for what it is. It's a
great game.
It is a good game.
No, it ranked number 5 in our list. So hey,
Yeah, it's not a bad
rightfully so,
game.
Yeah.
Like, if you want a good RPG that's not too incredibly long, but long enough with a lot of quirky, cool things left and right inside of its gameplay, then yeah, it's definitely up there. It's fine.
But just not cool from Game Informer. Not cool at all.
Yeah. Well, guys, let us know in the comments. What do you think about Game Informer? Obviously, less than nothing. But, for what it's worth, down with the sickness.